All right, boys and girls, today we are back again taking a look at the new Marvel Legends 2-pack from the Infinity Saga collection of figures. The Mark 85 Iron Man and Avengers Endgame Thanos in his dope armor. As you can see on the box, it says Infinity Saga on the bottom, on the top Avengers Endgame. 4 and up on the bottom as well, nice Avengers logo. On the sides here, I'm going to move my camera, because it's kind of big here. Get some very cool packaging art, and on the other side you get some more very cool packaging art with some great characters displayed. On the back here you can see it says Iron Man steps onto the battlefield against Thanos in the ultimate fight for the fate of the universe. And on the other side for Thanos, his write-up reads, Thanos is a destructive force that will stop at nothing to achieve his goals. If you want the barcode, it is right, oh my gosh, right here. Screenshot it, keep it, have someone at Target scan it, and hopefully it is in stock and you can pick this up like I did. It's about $60, came out to 68 bucks with tax. So without further ado, let's pop this package open and get into these figures. Okay, so first off with Thanos, we have the first head sculpt, which, I mean, the likeness looks good, but the whole ashy look to me just looks, I don't know, it looks like clay. It just doesn't look very good. And then we also get this hand sculpt too with the snapping fingers, the I am inevitable hands. And a cool little touch and detail here, there's no stones in the hand, as, you know, that's accurate. But it's sculpted very nicely, proportioned very well. I am very pleased with that hand, but not super pleased with this head. So the next head sculpt looks very good. To me, the teeth almost look kind of silver. That's really weird. I'm not sure how I feel about that. I mean, it looks good. I don't mind it, I guess, but not sure that's intentional. I mean, it must be. I don't know. Cool looking head sculpt, though. I mean, the eyes look pretty good. Very squinty. Pupils are lined up nice. The helmet matches the armor very nicely. The whole color scheme matches, so that's important. Otherwise, I'm very pleased with that head sculpt. I think it's very cool. Other hand we get is this fist with the glove, and you can see all the Infinity Stones are in there. And, I mean, it looks good. It's exactly what you'd expect. Very nice looking. I kind of wish we could have changed the gloves, though. I wish that would have been an option. I would have taken that over certain other accessories, which I will go over. But it would have been nice to have an interchangeable glove. However, for what it is, it looks good. The paint's kind of sloppy on the Yellowstone. I won't even lie. But the rest look pretty decent. That orange one on the end looks pretty messed up. I can't even remember which one it is. On the thumb, it looks alright. For the most part, it's pretty good. Next accessory is this double-sided blade, and this looks very badass, dude. And the metallic kind of gunmetal silver look to the actual blade is beautiful. I think the last one we got did not even look close to this good, if I remember correctly. The sculpting is phenomenal. It doesn't look like it's from Earth. It looks very futuristic, very badass. On this side, it's pretty much the same thing. Otherwise, it looks very good. The hands are very pliable. It's pretty easy to get in his hands. It's a little tiny bit loose, but not enough to really bother me at all. He holds it pretty freaking well, and I'm very, very pleased with this. The only complaint I'd say I have, actually, I have no complaints. Look at that. I think that is a vertical hinge on the hand right there. So he will hold it properly, and it'll look accurate in terms of how it should, you know, look. Because that's what people do when they hold a sword. They go like this, not like this. So that looks very good. I'm so happy with that. Big improvement on the last Thanos, I believe. I don't own him anymore, but I don't think he had that. Comment below if he did and I am wrong, please. This next head is called the Thanos is Stoned look. Get it? Stones, Infinity Stones. I'm on a roll. But you can see, I don't know, it looks alright. Thanos is smiling. He's a happy boy, I guess. His pupils look kind of, yeah, they look alright actually. But I'm just not big on this head, and I definitely won't display him with it. But it's neat. Then my favorite head that he comes with is just this flat-looking, you know, grimacing kind of face that is just badass to me. Really captures the likeness beautifully. You can see they put shadowing in the sculpt on his face and all those lines. So he looks incredibly accurate to the movie. The paintwork is really good on the head. I am very, very pleased. So from what I remember, this is essentially like the same Thanos we've gotten in the past, this armored Thanos. It's all right. I'm not going to say it's amazing by any means, but it's okay. I'm not blown away by it, but I do think it looks good, and it's going to look great amongst my other MCU Marvel Legends. There are some new pieces, some new paint applications, obviously, to give that dusting effect or whatever. Most of the paint applications are pretty good. I kind of wish this gold here was all throughout. I think some of the gold in spots is weaker than in other spots, definitely, especially like up in here. And I think, again, they're just trying to go for that ashy look, but personally, I didn't really want that. They could have just totally missed it and put a regular Thanos in here, but I'm honestly happy with the updates they made in terms of paint. The head sculpts look great. The glove is cool, wish it was interchangeable. But the biggest issue with this guy is not with the paint, and I'll go over that in a little bit. I do like this. I think this is new, man. I'm not totally sure. Some of the paint is wonky. Like right there, you can see there's some paint rubbing or bleeding. On the inside here, you can see some rubbing there. Overall, though, the sculpt looks very good all throughout the armor. It is very, very detailed, even in the tiny spots. Just all that line work looks phenomenal to me. I like the cracking and the indentation throughout the armor here, and it almost feels very soft, as you can see. So that's kind of nice. I always enjoy that. And then on the back here, it's almost like they just decided to paint the front and then gave up because I don't see any paint applications on the back there. So it's kind of a bummer. But they did carry through with the sculpting, which is great, but would have been nice to bring the paint through so it was all kind of cohesive and went together well. I did notice, too, he does have a shoulder pad right there, but not one on this arm. I'm guessing that's probably screen accurate. I'm not totally sure. But the shoulder pad looks good. The legs also look very good. All the line work is very, very nice. No pinless joints on this guy on the legs. And no pinless joints, or I guess it's pinless in a way. Only thing is it is a single jointed arm, which is the biggest flaw in my opinion. Oh, say hi to my kitty. So going over the articulation, probably my least favorite part of this guy, the head goes off. It goes off. So looking at the articulation, the head goes back about that far, not too far, it goes forward. He does have the ab crunch. Would have been nice if there was kind of a swivel rotation in there. That would have been cool. Arms go up about that far, not crazy far. They do go around. You could really push it, but I don't want to bend this armor too much. There is a rotation at the elbow, a single jointed elbow that goes pretty much 90 degrees, honestly, maybe a little bit over. Not too much going on there. There are hinges in the wrist. Obviously, there's a vertical hinge here that we went over and a horizontal hinge here. And you can see that's a paint flake onto my hand. That's a bummer. And then there is no rotation or anything at the waist. Nothing there. Legs go out about that far, go forward about that far, and back about that far. There is a rotation at the thigh. A little bit of paint rubbing there. That's a bummer. Double jointed knees. Very dope. Always happy to see that. Rotation at the foot, very, very nice, opens a lot of posing capabilities. There is a hinge as well at the foot that that goes back pretty far. I'm pretty pleased with that. And there is an ankle pivot that is very movable, so I'm very happy about that. But the only thing with this articulation that I think is a letdown is the arms. That's kind of a bummer. It would have been cool if we got like a butterfly joint or double jointed elbows or a swivel here. So with Tony Stark, we get quite a few sets of hands here. I want to say 3 sets of hands. The first set is just a gripping hand here. You can see that little repulsor ray on there and some cool paint work on this one. A little bit of bad paint. Looks like there's some gray on the knuckle there. This hand is an awesome accessory. I was always hoping that we would get this, and we finally have it, and it looks awesome. I have some paint problems on the knuckles, but aside from that, I adore it. Looks amazing. Then we do get some blasting hands. There is a second one here, and you can see without the blast effect how shallow that peg hole is. So you can see there's kind of a space between the actual blast effect and that hand. Honestly, in scenarios like this, it would have been nice to just get them painted. I kind of liked what they did with the Mark III armor, to be completely honest, but I also love having the blast effects. I don't know, if we could meet in the middle somewhere, one with, one without, that would be very cool. Aside from that, I mean, it looks good. The hands are painted good. I think the proportions are some of my favorite on blast effect hands. You can see my blast effects are a little bit warped here. I do want to mention they do match the other accessories, so that's a very nice touch. This one is not. Oh, no, it is warped. What the hell, man? I'm sure this isn't throughout everybody's. At least I hope not. But with mine, it's a problem. However, it looks all right. If you're going straight on, no problem. If you're going from the side, kind of an issue. Then we do get two fisted hands here that are really. I love this line work. It's really cool, man. It's very consistent, like going straight through the hand. I love that. My only complaint with these is there's no paint on the repulsor rays, but that's it. That's my only complaint. These look so good. I'm very happy with the proportions. They just beautiful. Then we do get this weapon here that is made out of the nanotech. The paintwork is cool. The blue is cool and consistent with the rest of the blue accessories, not with the blue on the actual armor. Otherwise, I mean, it looks good. The sculpt is cool. Only complaint is that you can see it fits in his hand. Not totally. His hand doesn't actually fit in between this two well. Just, you can see it, you really got to work it. So that's my only complaint with that. And then you do get this shield accessory here, which is pretty cool. It is a little bit loose. Like, you have to make sure it's pushed down, otherwise it just fits horribly. So it has to be like down here. I might have it upside down. I'm not totally sure. But I mean, it looks great. This is from the scene when I believe Hulk is doing the snap, you know, to bring everybody back. Spoiler alert. And if you haven't seen it by now, you suck. But it looks pretty dope. I like the sculpt work. It looks, I mean, with translucent stuff, like, I mean, sometimes it doesn't look good because you can see the inner workings, but just being an accessory, it looks beautiful. I'm very happy with it. And again, it matches this. I almost feel like this blue could have been a tiny bit lighter, but it looks very good. I'm very pleased with it. Then looking at this RDJ head sculpt, there's some brown in between the lips, like they're darker, and I'm not a huge fan of it because sometimes it almost makes it look like his mouth might be open a tiny bit, depending on the lighting. But aside from that, I do think it captures RDJ pretty well. Not perfect, but very, very close too. The hair looks good, the paint looks good, the bruising looks good, skin tone is beautiful. This face scan was awesome. The best RDJ head sculpt we have gotten, hands down. Then here is my favorite Tony Stark head sculpt, hands down, ever. This looks so much like Robert Downey Jr. It is uncanny and ridiculous. I am so pleased with this. Paintwork is good. The face scan was absolutely perfect. Everything about this looks good. The scan is so on point with the sculpt. I am very, very pleased. The wash out, the hair looks good. The sculpting in the hair looks good. This is just, dude, it's Iron Man. Just want to mention too, when you're swapping these out, it actually swaps out at the neck, which is a very cool feature that I do like. Then lastly, we have the Iron Man helmet, and I feel like the neck is kind of low. Maybe it's just me. I wish I could get that to raise up just a little bit more, but it looks okay. The paint work, for the most part, is good. The sculpt looks pretty good. Just kind of low. So my biggest complaint about this guy is probably the proportioning with the armor. I feel like this whole section, like, this isn't long enough, and this might be too big, and it looks kind of disproportionate. Like, the bottom half doesn't match the top half. Arms, I think, are a decent length, but I do feel like this is a little bit too big. Aside from that, the paint work, the sculpt work is all beautiful throughout this figure. I love the gold paint work. I do have a little bit of scuffing there and some bleeding in spots. I wish they could have put this in a different spot. I don't know. It's whatever. On the back, again, very consistent all throughout with the gold colors. I love it. This gray is a little bit lighter than the rest of the armor. Not a big deal. I'm not super bent out of shape over that, honestly. But overall, I think this is very well proportioned. I think the sculpt work is very good. Would have been cool to see some pinless joints, though. I mean, come on, man. But I get that this is kind of a retooled sculpt. So they've had this before. It was in another wave. Was it the Lebowski Thor wave? I'm not totally sure. But when you actually get him in poses and stuff, all of those like proportioning issues just fall to the side. It looks so freaking good, man. I am blown away by this guy overall, and I think the sculpt and paint just is a knockout punch, especially that paint. That gold paint is awesome. I feel like the plastic red here could have been a bit better, like they could have just painted it. But this almost feels like a softer kind of plastic piece too. A little bit of marbling in there. I'm not sure you guys can see that, but that's always unfortunate, but it's kind of out of their control. Overall, I think this figure is very good. I just noticed here, you can see the paint doesn't match up. Oof. That actually is awful. I'm really not happy with that. That is ugly. Oh boy. Why did I not notice that initially? That is rough, man. Ew. Might have to repaint this a little bit. But overall, he's very good. The gold paint really ties things together and makes him just look like he's better than a $20 figure, in my opinion. So for the articulation, the head goes back about that far, goes forward about that far, and you do have that dumbbell joint in there, so his head rotates like he looks like he's losing it. But very nice pivoting, looks up about far enough in my opinion. Down pretty far, very pliable too, so you know it's not going to break. That's always nice. And the neck does obviously move a little bit in there. The arms are kind of stiff here, but you can hear him snapping and popping. You can move them up about that far, I'd say. I don't want to push them up any further. I don't want to break this dude, obviously. They do go all the way around and kind of snap and pop. Rotation at the bicep or the shoulder. Double jointed elbows as well. Rotation at the wrist. A horizontal hinge. And I should mention that these blast effect hands do have horizontal hinges as well. So that's a really nice touch. Everything else is a horizontal hinge as well. There is a swivel here at the diaphragm. Goes forward about that far. This could have been cut a little bit better. Goes back about that far. Obviously a rotation, a little bit of a pivot here, so that's always nice for very organic looking movement. No rotation below the waist at all. His legs go forward about that far, and you go back about that far, go out that far. There is a rotation at the thigh. Double jointed knees, rotation down here. It looks like there is a little bit of one. No, maybe not. I can't really tell, to be honest with you. It does have a pivot here, or back and forth. Looks pretty dope. And an ankle pivot as well, or a hinge. Why the hell didn't I just say hinge? The hinge is pretty decent. I like it. But my only other complaint I would say is, well, let me grab a figure to give you a visual. So maybe this is unfair, but here we have the best Iron Man figure ever released, in my opinion. Here we have a very good Iron Man figure that probably was the best until this boy came along. Beautiful. But you can see his actual abdomen here looks like a separate piece than the crotch. I wish they would have done that here. I don't know, maybe added a swivel or even done like a pocketed kind of swivel like the G.I. Joe classified figures have, and done like a soft tissue crotch piece. I would have appreciated that more. I do feel like this chest is a little misproportioned, but compared to this figure, this guy's a knockout punch. Absolutely amazing. I don't think this guy is nearly as good, but I think the head sculpts make him really, really worth it. And a small surprise for the end. Look at how dope that looks. Oh my god, I love this. Then for a size comparison, here is the Mark 85, right? Yes, Mark 85 next to the Mark 3 Iron Man. You can see Mark 3 is a little bit taller, but he's also going to be bulkier, where this is nanotech and closer to the actual skin, I guess. Then here he is next to the purple Josh Brolin, and you can see the heights are very accurate. Josh Brolin, Thanos, towers Iron Man. Then here they are next to Shang-Chi, who just had a recent movie debut. Amazing movie. Probably my favorite MCU movie, honestly. But I'd say the heights are fairly accurate compared to Shang-Chi, considering he's in an armored suit and he's a freaking alien boy, eternal, deviant boyo dude. Then here they are next to the new Infinity Saga Thor figure that comes with Stormbreaker and Mjolnir. Mjolnir. Oh my gosh. And I'd say the heights again are very accurate. And then completely random, another new movie figure, the new G.I. Joe Classified Snake Eyes, who's much shorter than them, but looks pretty good next to him, in my opinion. Then here we have another Iron Man armor, based off of the one that was in probably Iron Man 3. Same sculpt as the one we got that was that Avengers armor that we got in the 10th year anniversary figure. It's this gold Iron Man. I don't remember what his freaking name is. I don't really care. Comment below if you do, or you remember the mark, you know, the number of what armor it is. But you can see it stacks up pretty well next to both of them. Iron Man's a little bit shorter. Honestly, if he had a little bit of a longer neck, he'd probably be the same height. Then here we have Happy Hogan, who is, or Jon Favreau, my Jon Favreau figure, who is quite a bit shorter than both of them. So overall, I think if you find this pack in stores, you should totally buy it. I do think it's worth the $60. For the amount of accessories, the beautiful head sculpts, a lot of these problems I can totally see past. And they're little problems. I mean, there's nothing really significant. And I'd say my issue with the chest is more of a matter of personal preference. Comment below if you agree with me about his chest. Maybe you don't, that's totally fine. Might just be me. But I would say this paint is a problem. The shield is kind of frustrating to get on. I wish it would snap on just a little bit better. Aside from that, just a few paint details that kind of suck. And it would have been cool to see some better articulation, but I get they are reusing body molds. And the great thing about Hasbro is these figures are figures that came out a few years ago, okay? And a lot of people missed their shot to get these. I know I never found this guy in stores. I had him, I ended up selling him, and that was a mistake. But Hasbro gave me a second chance to go pick these up. And for that, I'm forever grateful because I'd love to complete my entire collection. And these guys are both such an essential part of the MCU. It's great to get both of them in a 2-pack. And rest assured, I guaranteed once these guys stop being put on the shelves, you'll see them go up in money a little bit until eventually we get a new release of these characters if we ever do. And I'm sure we will. But I'm glad I got my chance to get these. And if you don't own either of these yet, I totally recommend them. If you do, I would get them because they have some great head sculpts. And I mean, it's probably our first accurate looking RDJ head sculpt. This has been one of those heads that has been kind of hard to, get down and just nail. Every head sculpt before this has looked kind of goofy in my opinion. And this is the first one I feel that honestly captures RDJ very accurately. So overall, I think this is a very good set. I give it like an 8 out of 10. Totally recommend. So if you stuck around to the end, thank you for watching this video. I appreciate you so much. Make sure to leave a like, make sure to subscribe, and stay tuned for more Infinity Saga figure reviews, because rest assured, we will definitely have more. Anyways, guys, stay happy, stay healthy, get vaccinated, see Shang-Chi, because it's amazing, and keep collecting. Peace.